up on YouTube. In the previous video, the first one, we went through the teachings by Chi, and he's a Buddhist Chan master. Now, there might be some people watching thinking, well, I'm a Christian and I'd like to partake in this meditation, but I can't be doing something of a Buddhist denomination and so forth. Have a look at the video. I haven't watched it yet, but the technique itself that I have provided, if you have a good look at it, there's nothing there that would be denominational. It's actually a non-denominational meditation technique. And to the best of my understanding, it leads to would lead to health and happiness, and that's really its purpose. But if you do have doubts, and that's why I've created this one specifically for Christians. Oh, this is an old book, but I'll bring it up now. It's called Dancing with Your Shadow. I used to read books all the time. I'd go down to the local, Vinnie's or whatever it is, and I'd buy about, I don't know, 10 or 20 books, and I'd read them through the week. Normally, let's say I bought 20. I would hand back around 19 of them. I'd take them back and give them back. And I'd normally find one that had something that was worthwhile, and I'd journal that, and then I'd pick up another 20 or 10 or whatever it may be. This one must have slipped through. It was something that I didn't mind out of that whole process of reading thousands of books. And what I do like about it is because I was brought up as a Christian, and it was something for me to sort of look back on, and I wanted to practice meditation. There are all these fears. So what's great about this is she talks about the Desert Fathers. And these are the original Christians that used to take themselves off to the desert caves, much like Jesus himself, how he went to the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. And they would meditate there. Now, the meditation technique that they did is very similar, if not identical, to what I provided in the first meditation video. So I'll make sure to put up a link somewhere along here. And or maybe even the bottom. So, but there is just a slight difference, but I'm going to talk about the things that are the same. Now, one is in the first technique, we're concentrating on the lower dantian. When it came to the Desert Fathers, they concentrated on the heart center. Now, be very careful of this. Do not concentrate on your heart, because wherever your mind goes, it will then send energy. And if we do that, then blood flow goes there as well. And we don't want to be putting extra stress and strain on the heart. And if you practice a focused intent on, the heart organ, it could lead to heart problems. Okay, and I'm not joking about that. And you can Google and look up cases of people who have done stuff like that. So even with these meditations that I've taught you, people who do it like crazy amount of hours on a singular spot and so forth, they can lead themselves to a bit of damage. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just giving that piece. So you want to make sure it's directly in the center of your body, because there's no major organ there. All right, so there's that part. And when I say center of your body, just like I spoke about the dantian, it's a crosshair. It's centered here and centered in there. Okay? So it is actually probably easier to discover this center than the lower dantian, because it's closer to your brain, and you kind of think of yourself or your consciousness, and that's why the upper dantian for the Taoists, because it's like, well, I'm up here looking out in the world, so it's like closer to you than the lower dantian. So what these Desert Fathers would do, they'll plonk themselves down in a cave away from society, and they would focus on the heart center that's directly in the center of your body at this region. And they would begin with what you would call as, from the East, as a mantra. So a mantra is when you repeat a japa, or you repeat a certain syllable or a word or a sentence. And with modern science, and you can see the experiments that are done, you could pick anything. Like you can count, you could repeat in your head, purple monkey dishwasher, purple monkey dishwasher. And what it does is it produces a calming effect on your body and mind. And this produces a relaxation response. If you'd like to find out more about this, Dr. Herbert has written many books, but you probably just want to grab the relaxation response. All right. And I take it that you don't want to be reciting purple monkey dishwasher. So for those who are Christian, you can simply take any text from the Old or New Testament, something that's appealing to you. It could be a word from Jesus. It could be one of the sayings. It could be anything. When I used to do this, and it was actually a while ago, there's the Aramaic name for Jesus himself. So I used to like practicing that I would recite Jesus's Aramaic name, concentrating on this sentence. Okay, so now let's just go over the like similarities and or differences. One of the great things about doing the mantra piece, you see, when we sit and we align ourselves, which I discussed in the first video, it's a way of regulating your body. You're trying to relax and release your body. When you do this and you begin to try and focus on a point, you'll notice all this craziness going on in your mind, all these thoughts. And the funny thing is they are generally there all the time and you just didn't notice. And this is for beginners I'm talking about. So a way to address that, because it can be so distracting, is you give yourself a mantra. And it's nice to give one to your beliefs, because it's comforting as well. And it's something that you care about, right? It's your religion. So you take that and you focus on that point and you recite that phrase. Now, the other is, I'm not sure if it matters. I know we have rosaries and things, and you can do the Our Father and the Hail Mary. These take a little longer because they're so long, as in the whole prayer. I'm definitely not saying not to do that. It's not that at all. It just takes longer. It can get you into that same state, that's for sure. But I think the shorter the repetition causes this. You can see it as, I don't know if numbing's the right word, but because you're not trying to make yourself like zoned out. It's not the point of it. You want to be awake and alert when you're doing this, but your body's falling to sleep and your mind's relaxing, but you're not giving away your will, because your will is there, focused on that point. The mantra is just to correct all of those conditioned thoughts, because you've been thinking for so long, it's created a habit that keeps thinking. So you're trying to break that habit. So the way to do it is the mantra, right? That's just trying to give you the technology and the reason why they gave it. Now, during your meditation, if you find yourself and you get into the zone, and you'll know it, because it's like you'll slip into this space and you're repeating that mantra. If you get the sense that you're in the zone, and that's the time where you can release the mantra, and that means you don't need to repeat it anymore, and you will find a stillness within your mind. And that's a beautiful line. I think there's some things in here that give some quotes from the Bible, allowing Christians to know that meditation is part of the religion. And if you look at Psalm 46:10, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Okay, so we've stilled the body, and we're stilling the mind with your chosen phrase from the Bible. And when you find that stillness, you can let go of the phrase, but you'd still be on this this center point. So with these two techniques, we've regulated the physical body and we're regulating the mind. There is other regulations to do. I haven't released them yet, but we will touch on the breath. There is definitely breath work that you can do, because the breath affects the mind, right? And conversely, when you do your mantra, it will change the mind and the frequency of the waves, which then affects the breath. So since I've only given you two regulations, if you do them correctly, your breath will change naturally, and it will all harmonize to become one. Right? I really hope that helps, that this technique is non-denominational, but you can also take the technique and make it denominational. So in this case, I've given you a Christian flavor. I doubt people of non-Christian will be watching this, but if you are, of course, you can, take something from your scriptures. I tend to look at it more scientifically, that it is a technology that's there to regulate the mind. So these days, I don't use that type of technology. It's not a necessity. My preference is, once you discover the chi, you can enter into the chi and your mind naturally stills. So don't have to. If your mind's still, you don't need a technique. All right, awesome. I hope that helps, and all the best.